Hey guys, my name is Sasha, and here on this channel we discuss my personal opinions on different topics. And today what I wanted to talk to you about is taxes.
Oh my god, who the hell cares?
And thank you, Peter Griffin, for that reaction. To be fair, taxes are incredibly important. I know a lot of people find it really boring. In their 20s and onwards, or almost every single person will have to deal with taxes. It is quite surprising how taxes is the biggest expense of your life. It's not even your house, your car, whatever it is. It's not even that. Taxes is the biggest expense in your life. And this is something that schools are not teaching us about. You would talk to an average person, or you would look up videos on YouTube. Everyone is saying that they haven't been taught anything about taxes, which to me is just ridiculous. I decided to make this video just to educate you guys a little bit on what sort of taxes you're paying, how you can pay less, and I just want to start off this video by saying I'm not against taxes. Alright, I do believe that it is very important to pay taxes for our government to function. However, what I want to rant about in this video is how our government is not educating us about the taxes we are paying, why we're paying them, and where they're going. Now, let me just start off by income tax. So income tax is something you pay as a worker. So when you work in a company or wherever you're working, you have to pay income tax. So for example, if John is working in company A, he's making £2,500, and I'm gonna make a little display over here. If he is making £2,500 a month, deduct 20% of taxes, it's gonna be £2,000 that he has left in his pocket. So £2,000 is pretty good, right? Well, not so fast. You still have to pay VAT, which is the tax on any goods and services that you buy. So VAT is pretty common. Alright, let's say out of those £2,000, John had to pay 20% VAT on everything he buys, which means he only has approximately £1,700 in his pocket. Something to consider is that before it used to be £2,500, right? And now it is approximately £1,700. Just because John paid 2 taxes, which are common and it's very difficult to avoid them. When you are a rich person, well, relatively rich, if you're, for example, a CEO of the company and you're making £500,000 to £1 million a year, you're working your ass off. Being a CEO of a big corporation is not easy. You know, half of those money will be taken by the government, because the tax bracket up of £150,000 and more is 45%. Now, it seems fair when you look at it from the Robin Hood perspective, when you think, hey, those people don't need as much money, let's help people who are poorer. But on the other hand, if I would be earning £500,000, I would be pretty pissed if the government had to take half of that away. That is why a lot of rich people try to avoid paying taxes. For example, Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, he has been accused of avoiding taxes.
The idea that Microsoft didn't pay its taxes.
It's not that Microsoft didn't pay taxes, it's that they could have paid more taxes.
Voluntarily?
And to be fair, it is absolutely fair to try and pay as little taxes as possible. As long as you're doing it legally, it is absolutely your right, both in England and America and most developed nations, to go under a tax code which will let you pay less taxes. A bit less of a legal way, and the way Trump does it, for example, if he doesn't want to pay a tax on a house, which, yeah, you have a tax on a house. So if your house costs £500,000, probably £100,000 or £150,000 of that is tax. If Trump wants to buy a house, he would create a charity and buy a house with a charity. That way a charity owns a house, not Trump. And charities do not have to pay taxes. So that way, even though Trump lives in a house and can use it however he wants, providing that he has a charitable cause, for example, he lets his friends stay over for a few days. Of course, he's gonna say that those are random people, but he's gonna let his friend stay for a few days, and that can be a charitable cause. Now, I understand that most of you are not multi-million pounds investors and people who created businesses of 500 employees or more, and that is why I want to propose other things that self-employed people and employees can do in order to decrease the tax they're paying. So one thing that people can do is to just check whether they're not paying emergency tax. When I started working part-time, because I'm a student, when I started working part-time in one of the retailer shops, I realized that I was paying emergency tax. After looking at my salary in a couple of months, I've realized I was underpaid. So I phoned my manager up and I said, hey, what's wrong? Why I'm not getting paid? You know, there was a deficit of almost £1,000 there. And they said to me that it's because I'm put on emergency tax. An emergency tax is something HMRC, which is the entity responsible for taxes in the UK. This is something that HMRC puts you under if they don't know your situation, if they don't know how much you're earning. It happens a lot when you start a job. This is something to be aware of. They put you on emergency tax, which is 20%. And all of the money you're earning, 20% of that is being deducted to the HMRC. Now, a lot of people get that money back at the end of the tax year when the government sees that they haven't made more than a little less than £12,000, so they don't have to pay taxes. So that money is being refunded to you, but it means that there is a couple of months, half a year, probably a year of delay between your salary, which can be a lot of money for people like students who don't have a lot of money, so they really need that money now. Another thing that happens is some of that money is not being returned. For example, my money wasn't returned to me. That's why I had to call them up, and I got a refund of almost £1,000, which is a lot of money. You know, £1,000 in half a year's work is a lot of money, especially for a 19-year-old like me. So a lot of people, it is something they don't realize. Apart from looking after your taxes, an emergency tax is something to be aware of. Those people who are self-employed can really benefit from tax breaks. For example, if you're a YouTuber and you're making YouTube videos, right, and you're earning a living from it, if you go to Spain and you make a vlog there, you know, you have to buy tickets, you have to buy hotels, you have to buy food, and you have to pay VAT on all of that. Now, you can claim that VAT money back, and the government would return you those money because the government doesn't tax business expenses. So if the business has expenses, and if you're self-employed, you're kind of having a business, the government is not going to tax that. So you don't have to pay VAT. So you can get hundreds of pounds back just from one trip to Spain, just because you can say, hey, I made a video on YouTube, there it is, I need those money back. And that's it, and you just return that. And so most people spend thousands of pounds a year, if not tens of thousands. Can you imagine how much it would be to get 20% of that back? So for a lot of people, they don't take advantage of that, and I know a lot of people who don't. So this is definitely something you should look into. To conclude, you know, taxes is not really fun, but it's something we have to take care of. As young people, it's very important to get your finances straight from the very beginning. I know when I talk to my friends about taxes, they really yawn. I'm pretty sure most people have clicked away of this video at this point. But those of you who stay, thank you very much for staying. Thank you very much for watching this through. I hope this information was very useful to you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and that will be it. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.